In the absence of school, what do children do? They play, they do what brings them joy, and they do what calls to them. They do what they need to do to get from point A to point B, learning useful skills along the way. While unschooling literally means not schooling, this literal translation does little to explain what unschooling really looks like or feels like. Perhaps because the term begins with a negative prefix. Unschoolers typically attempt to define unschooling by what it excludes. The lack of a positive definition contributes to a multitude of misperceptions about the relationship between unschooling children and their parents. John Holt, the school reformer turned homeschooling advocate who coined the term, did so in opposition to schooling, i.e. coercive teaching, rewards, and punishments, compulsory learning, grades, tests, subjects, etc. Unschooling then didn't refer to any type of schooling, it referred to something else entirely. In simplest terms, you take the schooling out of life and leave everything else. That sounds easy enough, right? Really, unschooling means so much more than a hands-on, child-directed, experience-based, etc. way of learning. It doesn't describe a specific alternative to schooling. It just gets schooling out of the way so various unique, dynamic, personal, creative ways of growing up, living, participating, and contributing to communities can develop. Some unschoolers, myself included, prefer to use the term life learners instead of unschoolers. For the purpose of this book, however, I have largely chosen to use a more common original term. On the other hand, you could choose to perceive unschooling as unlimiting the possibilities, which feels like a celebration of freedom. The unschooling approach of learning things describes the way we learn naturally when left to pursue our own personal interests. As unschoolers, we own our interests, our passions, dreams, and goals, and also the responsibility for pursuing and attaining them. We respond to our desires and go after our dreams with enthusiasm. Fundamental to the unschooling approach, we acknowledge that we learn all the time and all learning has value, and we learn best by our own motivation in our own ways. Unschooling parents trust their children to learn what they personally need to learn. Coercion has no place in unschooling practice. If, for example, one of my daughters resists learning a skill, such as reading, I would not push her with bribes, threats, or other forms of coercion. Which does not mean that I would not actively help her learn to read. I will remain willing, available, and alert to what may have triggered her resistance. The multitude of ways unschooling parents might help children learn things include introducing new topics, sharing with and helping children to seek knowledge, initiating and participating in learning activities, and providing guidance and instruction. Unschooling parents have many of the same concerns and hopes for their children as any parent. The differences between unschooling and more conventional approaches to homeschooling and parenting exist in philosophy rather than in practice. By outside observation, the activities of an unschooling family may appear similar to those of a more conventional homeschooling family, or they may not. Nonetheless, they will most likely feel different. Unschooling feels joyful. A self-motivated, passion, and purpose-driven life feels intrinsically right. The unschooling lifestyle prompts us to question the true, heartfelt best interests of our children and ourselves, and to embrace our true, joy-seeking natures. The unschooling lifestyle encourages us to actively maintain a respectful, mindful attitude in our interactions with others and in all that we do. I hope you grab this book, Unschooling: A Lifestyle of Learning by Sarah McGrath. It's on Amazon. Follow the link below. And make sure to join us every day at 3:30 p.m. on Blog Talk Radio, Self-Education Radio with your host, Prince Avery. Link is also below this video. Thanks for joining us, and I hope you will be joining one of our discussions.